We are talking about Jeff Rosenstock's new album, No Dream. Long Island singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist Jeff Rosenstock is back. He's been actually in the music scene since 1995, Caroline.
Wow.
Started with the underground chaotic ska punk group, The Arrogant Sons of Bitches. And when that band dissolved in 2004, he formed the group Bomb the Music Industry, which also focused on ska punk, but blended in elements of synth pop and indie rock and folk. And that band consists of dozens of musicians, including singer-songwriter Laura Stevenson. And Jeff has been a member of other groups like Kudrow and the Bruce Lee Band. And as Bomb the Music Industry was winding down, he began his solo career in 2012 with the mixtape and some 7-inches in the following years. And his debut solo album, We Cool, was released in 2015. This album we're discussing today is Jeff's fourth studio album. And similar to his previous album, Post, this was a surprise release with no promotion in advance. Now, I was introduced to Jeff Rosenstock with the Post album. I really enjoyed it. I like the indie punk sound and his lyrics of hopelessness, being that it was written right after the 2016 election. And that album actually made my top 10 in 2018, if you remember. Caroline's like, no, I don't remember.
I
I don't keep
remember
tracking.
very little.
So I heard Post, and I'm like, I like this a lot. Then I went back to his second album, Worry, which I absolutely loved even more. Like, because that album is a commentary on gentrification, anti-capitalism, police violence, and perpetual partying. And I found it very endearing. And the music genres changed from indie rock to ska to punk to hardcore as each track brilliantly segued to the next. You heard of him before?
Nope.
Okay. With this latest album, I feel like Jeff still maintains his snarky, borderline bratty outlook on human behavior. And I'm kind of intrigued a bit because you never heard him before. You see an album where it's just one guy. And when the album starts, especially with this opening track, No Time, were you a little shocked?
Yeah. Like, as soon as it started, I was like, oh, okay. Like, I wasn't expecting like that from, like you were saying, from just like one guy.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, okay, it's going to be another one of these.
But we'll see if that maintained for the whole album for her. Because that opening track is like this quick and brief punk song, a la like Green Day-ish, but not as poppy or polished anyway. 54 seconds, it ends as quickly as it began. As he's like mockingly questioning if people accomplished everything they wanted despite society's obstacles, because unfortunately he did not have the time. Similar to the Worry album, that song quickly segues into the next song, Nikes. And like Nikes is like a skate punk song as well as like the earlier one, but it's a lot slower tempo and a lot more sloppier production, chunky guitar riffs, gang vocals coming in. Where Jeff's like pessimistic lyrics on life and consumerism. When he's like, looking down the barrel of a shitty future. And then he goes to that part where he's like, so I scoured the internet for a new pair of Nikes to assemble that I say I'm above. So when it goes to that song, it slows a little bit down a bit. But what did you think of the next song, Scram? Did you like the way he sings, like his off-key vocal delivery?
Yeah. I was like surprised at how versatile his voice was. I like this song. I also liked how like the tempo would change between verse and chorus, and how there were additional voices. It could have just been his voice layered on top of like his own voice during the chorus as well, which I thought like added a nice extra like layer to it. I did like Nikes as well, but I think this was the first song that really kind of got me like, oh, okay, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Yeah, I like this one.
Tricked you.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how his lyrics are so matter of fact. You understand what he's talking about, even if he tries to like add a little bit of flair to what he's saying. I did feel like the song State Line was a little ambiguous, though. It seemed like he's just looking at things and writing them down for lyrics when he's describing being drunk and stoned in Sweden before mentioning mountains, pictures of toilets, chocolate, cough drops, and coffee.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, Can I Take a Piece of You Across State Line is the chorus.
Yeah.
So I gather this is a touring song, and maybe he wants to bring his lover with him. Is that what you got from it?
I mean, I didn't even get that much from it. And I think there was like one or two other songs where I was like, this is fun, but it's kind of like I have no idea what you're even trying to say. It's just like lines that rhyme with each other and maybe like interesting imagery. It wasn't too distracting because I think that the rest of the song was strong enough that it kind of like made it easier for me to forgive.
And the Fame song, when he's like, the fame, and he goes back and forth. I wasn't crazy about that song too much either, but it's just like Caroline's saying, he's got a really versatile way of doing vocals. But I felt like the song Honeymoon Ashtrays is a little more clearer in its lyrics about, buying an ashtray while on a romantic getaway. And the poppy power pop instrumentation is very pleasant to the ears. I thought it was very warm, and that song reminded me a bit of the Smiths. And I'm used to Jeff's lyrics like pointing out the problems in the world or his desire to stay young and stoned. I never knew this about him, that he has some social anxieties. And that goes back to the earlier song Scram, when he's just like, don't you want to get away from everybody and scram? But also on this song, The Beauty of Breathing, it's got a very noise pop sensibility of early Weezer, and the group jams to this light-hearted guitar melody and bounce percussion. And despite the uplifting instrumentation, Jeff wants to park his car on the road and get smashed into a million pieces. And when he goes outside and people say, hey, he wants to say, go away. And he'd rather stay inside. So I'm like, dude, if socializing isn't your thing, have I got the pandemic for you?
That song was very relatable for me. I liked where he was like, try to focus your nervous energy on the beauty of breathing, which is like, I wish it were that easy, bruh. I would have done that,
Yeah. Well, let's go back to the fact that he mixes different styles of music. And I think like that's the best example on the title track, No Dream, where it starts off like the Jerry guitar ballady riffs going in, and then it kind of builds where he's like, it's not a dream, not a dream, not a dream, not a dream. And it kind of builds and builds and builds. And then before it like goes to this like hardcore punk jam with like the quirky lead guitar before that, harmonium is like, what can we do? What can we do? That reminded me of the band Pup that we reviewed before, where it's like this chaotic indie gang vocals, punk rock. I really think that was a standout track too.
I agree. Might have been my favorite song on the album. I liked that it was political while also kind of highlighting the complacency that a lot of people have, where he's talking about like separating families and like jailing innocent people, but then like his next line is that like, crank the white noise on the TV and pretend that you're asleep.
Yeah. I also like the song Old Crap, where it's like he's singing like really fast and just like vibrant like acoustic guitar before it transitions to like the normal sloppy pop punk he's doing. I like the song Airbnb, the groove of the track and like the added keyboards give it like kind of a new wave vibe. So I'm listening to this song, I'm like, this sounds like a punkier version of the Cars. Go ahead.
I liked that about, I guess it wasn't every song on this album, I'm now realizing, but I liked that like the majority of the album, like one song would just move into the next like seamlessly, like you were saying, because I feel like albums don't do that anymore.
I know.
And that like makes me mad and sad, because I think that shows such like a talent of an artist to be able to do that, to make two completely distinct songs just like meld together really well.
Yeah, it gives you that vibe of like maybe they record the whole album in one take.
Right.
So all the punk tunes worked for me. Some of the tracks were hit or miss, and in some cases it was randomness or my disinterest in the lyrics. But in the end, I thought the album was at times, as Caroline would say, meh. It didn't grab me as the other two, but I like what I'm hearing. I'm going to give this album, for right now, you should download it and listen to it. It's a good listen. What did you think?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of the things you said. And I literally said it was a little unevenly paced. Some songs were really interesting and engaging, and some were kind of like you were saying, like almost nonsensical or forgettable, or like I wasn't really sure what he was trying to do or trying to say, if like he was actually trying to say anything. But it was still an engaging album, and I didn't like it too much the first time I listened to it, but then listening to it more, it really did grow on me. I will probably definitely go and listen to his other stuff, but this one in particular, I'm gonna give it a high download this.
Yeah, I'm on the same page. That's a good idea. Like, definitely go out of your way and listen to it as soon as possible. But if you do decide to pay for the album, let's let you guys know that 10% of the proceeds go to the Food Not Bombs charity. Take that into consideration if you decide to, but also tell us what you think of the latest album from Jeff Rosenstock. If he's on a trajectory for making better albums, or if you think it's okay like we did, let us know in the comment section, or you can send us an email with more of your thoughts.
I've been told for most of my life, wait until the perfect time by people who have been defined by skin and spots in life.